Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Isma, and we are starting the next chapter, which is the renal regulation of various ions. The first thing that we will be doing is renal regulation of potassium ions. So, regulation of potassium ions. The extracellular fluid potassium concentration is normally 4.2 milliequivalents per liter, and it is precisely regulated at this level. And the precise control is important because many cell functions are very sensitive to changes in the extracellular fluid potassium concentration. An increase in the potassium plasma concentration of only 3 to 4 milliequivalents per liter can cause cardiac arrhythmias, and higher concentrations can even lead to cardiac arrest or fibrillations. There is a special difficulty in regulating the extracellular potassium concentration, which is the fact that 98% of the total body potassium is contained in the cell and only 2% is present in the extracellular fluid. If you can see this figure on the slide, in a 70 kg man, adult, there is 28 liters of intracellular fluid and 14 liters of extracellular fluid. So for that will be 3920 or 3920 milliequivalents of potassium inside the cell and only 59 milliequivalents of potassium in the extracellular fluid. Potassium in a single meal is usually very high, up to 50 milliequivalents. The daily intake usually ranges from 50 to 200 milliequivalents per day, and failure to rapidly remove the extracellular fluid of the ingested potassium can lead to life-threatening hyperkalemia, while the loss of potassium from the extracellular fluid could also lead to severe hypokalemia in the absence of rapid and proper compensatory responses. Maintenance of potassium balance depends primarily on the excretion by the kidneys, because the amount excreted in the feces is only 5 to 10% of the potassium intake. Redistribution of potassium between the intracellular and the extracellular fluid is the first line of defense against changes in the extracellular fluid potassium concentration. As you can see from this table on your slide, these are the factors that can alter the potassium distribution between the intracellular and extracellular fluid. Factors that shift potassium into the cells include insulin, aldosterone, beta stimulation, and alkalosis. And these factors decrease the extracellular level of potassium. While factors that shift potassium out of the cell and lead to increased extracellular potassium are insulin deficiency, for example in case of diabetes mellitus, aldosterone deficiency like Addison's disease, beta blockage, acidosis, cell lysis, strenuous exercise, increased extracellular fluid osmolarity. In case of insulin, this basically what it does is its mechanism is to increase the activity of sodium potassium ATPase, so it will lead to increase in the uptake of potassium by the cell, and obviously increased secretion of insulin occurs after meal, thereby moving the potassium from the meal into the cell. So in people who have diabetes mellitus, there is insulin deficiency. The rise in plasma potassium concentration is much greater than normal, and taking injections of insulin can correct this kind of hyperkalemia. Aldosterone also, what it does is that it increases the activity of sodium potassium ATPase pump, and also the permeability of the ENaC channels and the potassium channels which are present in the cells. So people with excess aldosterone secretion, for example, Conn syndrome, they will lead to hypokalemia because of the movement of extracellular potassium into the cells. And conversely, in case of deficiency of aldosterone production like Addison's disease, it can lead to a significant hyperkalemia because of accumulation of potassium in the extracellular space, as well as because of retention of potassium, basically the renal retention of potassium. Beta adrenergic stimulation increases the cellular uptake of potassium. Epinephrine causes movement of potassium from the extracellular to the intracellular fluid, mainly by activation of the beta 2 adrenergic receptors. Treatment of hypertension with beta adrenergic receptor blockers like propranolol can cause potassium to move out of the cell and create a tendency towards hyperkalemia. Acid-base disturbances can cause changes in the potassium distribution. When there is increased hydrogen ion concentration, meaning acidosis, it decreases the activity of sodium potassium ATPase pump, and this in turn decreases the cellular uptake of potassium and causes hyperkalemia. On the other hand, in case of alkalosis, it will lead to hypokalemia. Cell lysis causes increased intracellular potassium concentration. For example, severe muscle injury or red blood cell lysis will lead to extracellular potassium levels being raised, which is obvious because the potassium will move out of the cells into the extracellular fluid. Strenuous exercise can cause hyperkalemia by releasing potassium from the skeletal muscles, especially in patients who are being treated with beta adrenergic blockers or in patients with insulin deficiency. Increased extracellular fluid osmolarity causes redistribution of potassium from the cells to the extracellular fluid. Increased ECF osmolarity causes osmotic flow of water out of the cells. Cellular dehydration increases the intracellular potassium concentration, which promotes the diffusion of potassium out of the cells and increases the extracellular fluid potassium concentration, leading to hyperkalemia. Decreased ECF osmolarity has the opposite effect.